Affairs here at Iona University, and it's my great honor to welcome you to our 16th annual Iona Scholars Day. As those of you who have been part of these events and celebrations in the past, you'll see or will experience once again that it's a really wonderful occasion to celebrate the great work of the students here at Iona, both in terms of their scholarships and creative forms. And it's part of a larger initiative of Scholars Month, where there's other activities that are related, including Faculty Scholars Day, which is at the end of this month. So you're all part of that together. It is my great pleasure to welcome you and to turn over remarks to our president, Dr. Seamus Carey. Enjoy the day.
Welcome. As I say each year at this is my favorite day of the year at University. And the reason for that is the work behind me here in front of you represents the very best of why we're all here. And so I want to start off by congratulating all our students here for the work that you've put into this and the products that you've created. And I hope that along the way that your engagement with the process of learning was as fruitful as the outcomes that we see here before us. One of the things we're really focused on these days in working with our faculty is to be attentive and present to our students. Presence is one of the pillars of the Christian Brothers education from the very beginning. And it's under threat today with all of the digital technologies that allow us to sort of jump to the answers very quickly. So this virtue and this skill of presence is going to become more and more important. And I suspect that the work that you've done required a great amount of attentiveness and presence to produce such outstanding work that we see here today. So congratulations for that. I also want to congratulate our faculty who have guided you and brought you forward and brought your work forward to this stage as well. In particular, Sung-Hee Lee, who is just a stalwart in this work and gets this done every year. Thank you, Sung-Hee. Along with Sung-Hee, Ben Gaines, Adam Rosado, Brett Zanner, and Catherine Smith. Thank you all for the work you've done. And I especially want to thank Matt Caiola for being here and taking time to share some insights with the students. So thank you all, congratulations again, and enjoy Scholars Day. Thank you.
Hello everyone. Hi, and welcome to Scholars Day. Welcome to all of our guests, as well as our student scholars. All of you put a lot of hard work into today, into the projects that we all see behind us, as well as the panels that will happen later today, just like many alumni have before us. Today we are privileged to be joined by Matthew Caiola, class of 2005, who is the CEO of 5W Public Relations. With over a decade of experience at 5W, or 5W, sorry. Matt helped transform the agency into a top 10 independently owned PR firm in the US and received accolades including Incorporated Magazine's Best Workplace, PR Vogue Media's Top 50 Global PR Agencies, and multiple American Business Awards. He was recently honored as Communications and PR Executive of the Year by the American Business Association, and he now joins us today. Thank you for being here, Matt.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
You have quite an impressive resume. Could you walk us through what your career was like and what important skills you found along the way?
Yeah, I think before I walk through that, I want to just say when I started here, and I just turned 42, so it's 05 is 20 years ago. People who were here made a big difference in my life. Dr. Petros was one of my professors here 20 years ago plus. Trisha Mulligan also was one of my professors as well. And I remember when I came here, obviously it's a financial burden on the family, and Brother Devlin helped me with books, and it's great to see him as well, because it was those little things matter. So it definitely started to pave the way for me in my career and what I wanted to do. I think for me, I remember when I graduated, I didn't know what to do. And I remember even being in high school, 4 years goes by really quick, and you're like, oh, well, it's 4 years. But then you go to college, and 4 years goes by really quick. And then now here we are. I'm on the stage as an older gentleman talking about my past. But it was tough graduating. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew communications was something that was important. I thought I was going to do more on the journalism side, to be honest. But I remember how hard it was to get a job. And I think it's still the case now. I know a lot of people that are trying to figure out what's the avenue they're going to go, where they need to be. And I took a job at a paper company right out of school because I knew I needed a paycheck, and it paid $36,000 a year. And I was on the road selling paper clips. And there's nothing wrong with that. But for me, it just wasn't the job. And I quit my first job 2 months after I graduated college. And I was saying earlier, Breslin, was it James Breslin who was here? I remember when I was taking him, he said, you're going to have 9 different jobs before you're 30. And I'm like, yikes, there's one. And that's not the case. It wasn't 9 jobs, but for me anyway. But after that, I quit the job and I joined a landscaping company. And I was like, I just went to college. And now I'm going back to a job I had when I was in high school. And I was very frustrated and trying to apply for didn't know where I needed to be. And one of the things I didn't do was getting an internship. And they do matter. I mean, when I interview people now, internships matter. Whether it's something local, some family or friend, just having some sort of responsibility of showing that you're working does help. And right after that, I tried to get a job with WebMD, and I was on the finals, and I didn't get that job. And Bloomberg, I was like a temp, and I was there for 2 weeks, and I didn't get that job either after the 2 weeks. And I started to become a recruiter right after, and the first 2 years was tough. And again, I have friends who do very well in the recruiting space and talent management, but it's just not what I wanted to do. They're all fine positions for people. Everybody's different. My mom says there's vanilla and chocolate ice cream for a reason. But I finally was able to break into a PR firm, communications firm in New Jersey, and it was about 9 people working there. And it was great because they were boutique enough where I was doing everything. I was in the big meetings with the team on the new business side. I was helping out, getting media relations, doing admin, a lot of paper pushing work, and I was there a couple years, and I was starting to really get my footing, and I was like, this is a company I want to be at for a while. And then we started to go under because 2009 was the big crisis. And a lot of agencies and firms and companies were starting to crash and coming together, so I quickly was trying to find another job again, and I got into my current job now. And I've been there 16 years. Am I going to be there forever? I don't know, but 16 years went by pretty quick. And I joined the company as a supervisor, and I worked my way all the way up to CEO today. And it was a lot of crazy times. I mean, obviously, when I started, it was going through the financial crisis. And those days, it seems like there was a lot of crises that were happening. They were every 5 to 10 years, and these days, it seems like they're every 30 days, 3 days. But we went through COVID, and that was a big part of our firm, of figuring out where we needed to grow, how we needed to get there, and we kind of like doubled down. And digital has become such a huge role. Our firm is completely, fully digitally integrated, and it's one of the things we implemented. So you always have to be, and again, I'm 42, and me being a CEO of a company and learning how to do TikTok 3 years ago was a real story. And it's where things are going, and if I don't keep up, the younger person will take my job. So I think it's always important to always keep learning, and you're never too old to learn. But it's been a long, trying road, but like I said, 16 years here at this firm goes by really quickly, and I'm very blessed. I think coming to this, I was talking to Dr. Petros earlier about what does college do for people. I don't necessarily know if I remember everything I've learned, but it does teach you how to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And, getting out there, meeting people, and then having a little bit of responsibility goes a long way, so it's a good start. So I can keep going, so I'll stop on that point.
You mentioned your time going from account supervisor all the way up to CEO at 5W. What is the key to upward growth in the workplace?
Good question. You know, I'm very corny with my cliches and things, and I always tell my staff, transparency is everything. You have to always know, let it out on the line like what's happening. Always be completely honest with people and letting them know the situation, and managing expectations is the second most important thing. So if someone asks you to do a task and you feel like you can't handle it, or it's something you don't understand, you have to manage that expectations, whether it's with your coworkers, whether it's with your clients, whether it's with your own boss, whoever. Nobody is perfect, except God, but other than that, nobody's perfect. And you have to be okay to make mistakes, and I think that's a real thing. Nobody is getting off of this planet alive. This thing spinning in space, it's not that serious. You have to take risks, and you have to be okay to make mistakes and fail and then do it again. And I know everybody always says that, but, you know, being open and honest, hard work is a real thing. I always say that hard work outdoes talent every single time. And it's the people who want to go the furthest and work the hardest are the ones that are going to go to the top, or whatever they want to do. I mean, it's just you have to really have passion about what you're trying to do. Times are different now. COVID, we're in the office 5 days a week. I can't get my staff in the office 2 days a week. It's like I just took their firstborn. It's like I'm the most horrible person. But at the time, 5 days a week, I used to try to outlast my founder of my company and who can stay the longest. And I used to put in the work, and there was 8 o'clock nights were real. But it's one of those things where you have to kind of want it, and you have to kind of figure out what you want to do and then go all in on it. Because like I said, life is very, very short, so why not just give it your all? I mean, that's just one of those things. And if it doesn't work out, you try something else. I mean, it doesn't have to work out in the first 3 years after college graduation or things like that. Did I just steal your third question?
No, you did not steal my third question. But you talked a lot about communication and transparency. I think that builds very well into relationships. Obviously, public relations, it's in the name. But how important is relationships in any industry, and how do you develop those skills?
Yeah, it's almost like when I was saying the being comfortable, being uncomfortable moment. Nobody is ever comfortable being on stage speaking in front of people. Nobody. Maybe some people, but most people aren't. Most people don't like to go up to a random stranger and introduce themselves and say, how are you? Or, you know, if they're going to send that email on LinkedIn or whatever it is to try to connect with someone. But building relationships matters. And it's who you hang out with matters. And you can start finding people that are similar to you, and you'd be so surprised. I still have friends with my mom always laughs at my wife, and I'm like, I keep adding friends on and people in my life. And no one ever, you don't forget about anyone. No one's better than anybody. You just kind of build your network of your people. And that's all you should be doing. So you try to find people that have the same likes and wants and similarities of your own skills and where you want to be, and you just keep adding on, and you have to really try to get out there and network. And I know it's a different time now where people are networking on Zoom and podcasts and different things that way, but that's why more than ever, since COVID and what we're seeing, the conference industry is bigger than it's ever been. Everybody who's not working in the office 5 days a week, or they're working on Zoom, or they're remote, where they are, they want to be out there now. They want to network more than ever. These types of fireside chats and panels are real, and they're happening every single day. And so I think the first and most important thing is send that email. Connect with someone on LinkedIn and try to meet them for a cup of coffee. Try to find an alumni. You know, someone who went to Iona, or someone in your community, or you know, I used to, when I used to interview with people or talking to people, unfortunately I'm a Jets fan, you know, and you try to find people who are Jets fans or Mets fans in your life, and that's our good starting points. But the biggest thing is relationships, and relationships really do matter, and you can really build your own network pretty quickly, and I think that's a great way to start, and just finding it. LinkedIn's a great resource. I mean, we use LinkedIn for everything now, but you'll start realizing it. If you get your first job, you start going out for, that's another thing. It's like people, and especially my staff, I probably have 100 staff that are under the age of 27 years old. And I can't get for the life of me to have them to go have a cup of coffee or a beer with each other, just to go out and just communicate. So I think you can build relationships within your own community, your own job, your own network. So there's always ways to build it. You'll be so surprised to find someone who's close to you that can help you open a door for you, or introduce you to someone else, and then you meet someone else that way, and then it all piles on. So not being afraid to network. There's 8 billion people on this planet. Not everyone's gonna like each other. But there's also 8 billion people on this planet, so try to meet them. Get out of your comfort zone, and just get out there. So I think that's the easiest part. A cup of coffee, it goes a long way.
So in the digital age that we have, especially with platforms like LinkedIn, what is the best way to cut through all the digital means to make that personal connection with someone else?
Yeah, people communicate a lot of different ways. And especially with my clients, I don't know how everybody uses Slack. Does everybody know Slack? Okay, then I'm impressed. Okay, so everyone communicates different ways, and whether it is traditional email, or you're on Zoom, or you're on Slack, or you just have a phone call. I have really simple rules when I interview people or talk to people and how I communicate. I'm very big on in person. I think eye contact and being with someone and talking to them is very real. So I'm always the type of person that I would have an open door meeting, be with someone, or a phone call is probably the best for me. I think that's where everyone's texting each other and things like that. So I think just being in person and being with someone is probably the most important way to communicate.
Absolutely. So you were once a student here, and you were once sitting in seats like these listening to someone speak. If you were sitting in their seat today, what advice would you give them?
Oof. I was just telling you guys, the first 2 years after I graduated, it was kind of chaotic for me. I didn't know where I was going to go. And I took that first job I probably shouldn't have taken. And I think for you, it's okay to be a little selective on the industry you want to be. And once you get your foot in the door, stay there. 2 years. 2 years. Just give it 2 years. It looks great on your resume. And then you can figure out. And when you're within a company, so like even our firm, we do everything. So we do website design, we do a lot of creative content, we do earned media public relations, we do speaking engagements for clients, we do events for clients, we do anything from paid and performance all the way through. So we're full communications. So you can get into a company and it might not be the role you want, but you can find out where you need to go, vertically, horizontally, whatever works. So it might not be the perfect fit, but if it's something in that industry where you feel you can be, do it. And I think you just have to remember that life does go pretty quick. So get out there and take chances and try to find untraditional ways of how to get in front of people, like I just said. I mean, you have to remember that everyone is sending 1,000 emails for that one job position. And, recruiters are a great start. Internships is the best. Most of the people at my company have internships. And if you need help, I will talk to each of you personally on internships, how to get those, because they're very easy to get. And I think you can find them, like I said, locally, in New York, wherever you need to be. Internships last 6 weeks. You can be at an internship and you're doing 3 weeks of work and it's on your resume, and then now you have a reference. So I think it's not that. I was so nervous of where I was going to go that you can take a minute, try to do an internship if you can. And if not, use that summer when you graduate to do an internship. You don't have to do it during school. I hired someone who was 2 years out of school, and then they had an interest in then. It doesn't have to be. Sometimes, when I was taking my third job, and I was a recruiter, I was making good money, actually. I was moving up in the company. It was a big sales stuff. I was making $60,000 a year at the time, which was a lot. And I took that entry-level job into the PR firm, communications company, at 35. You know how hard it is to tell a 25-year-old per kid to take $25,000 less money? But sometimes you have to go backwards to go forwards, as you know. So I think it's okay to survey the landscape and maybe where you need to be. But also know that if you could just get in somewhere, stay. 2 years. And then you can go wherever you want. You get the title increases, whatever, if it works that way. But I know it's overwhelming, but you have to understand everybody has gone through it, and you'll be fine. But it's just, please try to get out there in other ways that you're not. The emails of applying for the jobs are always so difficult. So try to find, again, the networking and communicating is a real deal. When I was here, there was a gentleman that went to the school. His name was Riley McDonough, and he was the one who worked at WebMD, and I ended up going to one of the dinners. I think it was at Cipriani's in the city. I found my way to get in for that Iona does when they recognize honorees and stuff, and I got his business card. And I emailed him so many times to get an interview, and I got the interview, even though I didn't get the job, like I said. But you have to find ways. And I think the people who work the hardest, really, you can outlast anybody. You just have to really care and take risks. It's not that serious. If you want to travel to Europe in the summer and you graduate, do it. That's so important. That's what I'm saying. Like, you can find ways to do things. It doesn't all have to be, like I graduated May 15th and I started WB Mason on May 18th. It doesn't have to be that way. You can take a minute, figure it out, but once you're in, stay 2 years. That's my advice.
Awesome. That is fantastic advice. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
No, we all very much appreciate it.